Hi, this is Danny with Being Out Plans, and today I will be comparing the Softbound and Coiled Erin Condren Wedding Planner. I just want to give a huge thank you to the team at Erin Condren for letting me to review these today for my first YouTube video. So, I want to start off just comparing the outside. The Coiled is very similar to the size of the Life Planner, while the Softbound is comparable to the larger size of the Softbound Life Planner. The Softbound Wedding Planner is newer. I think it came out in this past year, but it comes in two color options, either this beautiful blush color with the rose gold foil, or it has a black background with some white flowers and a gold foil on the paper. While the Coiled you can get in pretty much any interchangeable cover. I think almost all of them are available, and you can customize with either your wedding colors or choose on the patterns from Green Wedding Shoes, which this pattern is from. You can also put your name. The price is the Softbound retails for $35, while the Coiled Wedding Planner is a 7x9 and retails for $55. If you want to upgrade your coil either to rose gold like I did, or gold, or even black, you can do that for an additional $10, and then additional $5 will get you the 24-month versus the 12. So that brings me into the Softbound is an 18-month planner. That's the only option, while the Coiled you can get either 12 months or 24 months. So just depending on what works best for you. Now, like I said, the Coiled is a 7x9, while the Softbound is an 8x10. Both of them are undated monthly, just so you can see the comparison of size. They're about the same width, but the Coiled is quite a bit thicker than the Softbound, and the Softbound's a little bit higher. So there's lots of reviews out there for the Coiled. So I wanted to mainly go through the Softbound, kind of show a comparison, then flipping through the Coiled. So I love rose gold, obviously, so I had to get this one. The cover is beautiful. It's kind of more of a laminate feel to it, in my opinion. I'm not sure if that's the exact word you would use, but it doesn't feel like it's going to get torn up in a bag or backpack, however you choose to carry it. The color scheme is very simple. There's a lot more neutrals, this blush color throughout both, no matter what cover you get for it, either this one or the black and white. I started using it because I couldn't resist, and I just wanted to have some examples for when I did this review, so you'll see I wrote in it some. The other thing before I get going through here, as you can see, the Coiled has tabs, just like the Life Planner does. They don't have any months or anything on them, but the Softbound does not. I decided to put on these little hexagon stickers to mark some pages, which are also from Erin Condren, and just these little hexagon stickers, and I think that will work well enough for me. But it does also have this string to mark the page that you want to be on. Getting going in here to the guts of the planner, lots of beautiful quote pages. We have an index, also because we don't have those tabs, so easy enough to flip through the page you're looking for. And you can write your engagement story, when you got engaged, about the ring, and just like a really nice memory keeping. There's some tips. This looks very different than the Coiled, which I'll show you. My partner obviously has not served in this. I just couldn't wait. And then you can get into your traditions, and then this is where your checklist really starts. So it starts 14 to 9 months, which is also like that in the Coiled planner. So this is 18 months undated, so I was kind of surprised to see that it didn't start until 14 months. But you could always start checking off things earlier if need be. There's a checklist, which seems pretty consistent between the two, but I really like that they give you blank little check boxes if you want to add in some other things, if you want to start looking at like a photographer earlier or something else. And there's lots of tips throughout from Green Wedding Shoes. Now, what I like about this Softbound is you have this checklist with 14 to 9 months, and everything on this checklist will follow in this section. So your budget, and you can write out for each thing what your budget is, your estimate, and how much you actually spent. So that's really nice to keep you on track and checklist of what's left to find. The wedding party, so this only has 16 slots. So depending if you were doing on just your bridal wedding party or also the groomsmen, hopefully that would be enough, but you could probably also always cut those in half if needed. You have a guest list. So this I thought was really neat to be able to put how many invited, if you sent a save the date, if you sent the invite, got the RSVP, and you can check off if you got your thank you notes. So that might be really helpful. The only thing with this is I think there was only 75 guests, which with families, maybe that would be enough if you were doing like an entire family, but there's also note pages in the back if you needed to continue. So just depending on the size of your wedding, that may or may not work for you. There's a vendor contact list, which is pretty consistent between the two. And I did this. We went venue hunting recently and we looked at two, so I thought this was really helpful to be able to put in pictures and kind of the price, contact information, a little bit about it. You could rate it. So there's 4 venues for that. A little checklist for your venue. There's some flower options. I went ahead and wrote in eucalyptus because I know that's what we're wanting to incorporate, but haven't fully decided yet. So lots of opportunities for memory keeping, kind of getting an outline of your save the date. Very generic, but there's so many websites out there that you don't need a huge structured list, but maybe you want more of one. I liked that it had a date that you might want to put in. It gives you a little tip of estimate of the timeline. And then we go into our next section, which is the 8 to 6 months. Again, our little checklist, some blanks if you want to add in some other things, and our little Green Wedding Shoes tip. Put in your date, so when that would be for you depending on your wedding date. And the other sections, the sections that are within that checklist follow. So wedding dress, I thought this was really helpful because I haven't really looked at types and I didn't really know much more than mermaid style, so it was nice to have a little visual to bring with me. And this again is a little more for memory keeping, kind of gets you on like a track with just documenting like who was with you when you found your outfit, the story behind it, all the little details. And then you can do the same thing for your partner and your wedding party. Nothing for the groomsmen, but I'm assuming they'd possibly be wearing the same thing as your groom. The food and the wine. So a lot of this is really similar between the two wedding planners. Another little bit more, I felt like memory keeping wise, is the registry. So what you registered for, first gift you received as a couple, favorite gifts. And then we move into our next checklist, which is the 5 to 4 months before your wedding. It's a little shorter, but you have a lot more blank spaces if maybe there's things you haven't done in the past months that you need to get done here, or something else comes up. And you can see I add my tabs for all these because I felt like that would be the most helpful. A little outline of your wedding invites and kind of details that you know you need to include on your wedding, when you need to do it by. Order them plus deliver by. Sweets, so a little serving estimate for your cake. Oops. Goodness. I don't know why I'm trying to do this one-handed. Rehearsal, dinner information, and then our checklist for the 3 to 2 months. Again, blank spaces, and the checklist, little tidbits to follow. So, photographer, this isn't a huge list of must-have shots. Again, you could always add it in the back in your notes section. But I thought this was nice, this little timeline to plan for photos. because I haven't really seen anything like that as I've been starting my search. Music list, top 10 play songs. There's a mentions do not playlist, probably use my notes section for that, but I thought that was also helpful. And then a little gift section, and then your 1 month before. No little checklist, extra checklist, but I guess, again, you could always use your notes section. Seating arrangement, so there's I think 32 tables with some spots at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 spots at each. So that should be enough. That's like 300 people if you did it like that. So if you have seat arranged chase seating, I don't know if we will, so we might not use that, but good to have. I love this section. This is something that differs between the softbound and the coiled. The softbound gives you kind of an outline to start thinking about your vows, and I thought this was really helpful to kind of go through things you want to incorporate and get you on the right track, because I have no idea what to write, because I want it to be beautiful and perfect, and this is just seems like such a great giving you direction for what to write for your vows, and then moving on, it gives you pages to kind of write your rough draft. So I'm really excited to use this section when the time comes. All right, and then hashtag idea, honeymoon information if you're planning that right after. Some little fun tidbits. Then we have our timeline. So this timeline only goes from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. So if you're maybe wanting to include when you're going to have your exit as a couple, if that's going to be closer to midnight, you might have to kind of divvy out your lines or find a way to not add that or just not add it. So I do wish these went a little bit longer into the night, but not a huge deal. Week of your wedding. So our last section was the 1 month before, so then our next one's the week of. So I thought that was nice, just your little last minute things. Get your mani-pedi, break in your shoes, and then some lines down here if you need to add anything else. Gift log. I thought this was also really nice, just a nice place to put every gift you got and then check off whether or not you wrote them a thank you note. So I think that will be really helpful to just have it all in one place and not have to try to keep track somewhere else. Little rough draft for your thank you card. So it really takes you through everything from start to finish of your big day. And then it just brings us into the 18 months of blank calendars. So, and each one has a month and then a note page behind it and just a little quote page. So I really like this one because it's not super colorful, it's very sophisticated, very simple, and you can glam it up with some fun pens or markers, little tip markers. I've been planning on using metallic gel pens, which I think will work perfectly in here. So lots of freedom of expression of either keeping it really simple and or dolling it up, making it colorful and fun. So go lots of open planner pages, and you'll date them. And then we come into our memories. So you can add pictures and little comments. So lots of pages you decide to do that. I don't really understand this box. I feel like I wouldn't have a picture that long or skinny, but we'll see what happens. I think these squares will be useful. So lots of options you need to put pictures in. And then here we have our notes pages. So lots and lots of places to just write kind of brain dump or other things you want to add from various sections. We even have some blank pages. So lots of ways to use it. This is cute. So that is the softbound one. Now for comparison, we'll look into the coiled. So each one, just like the life planner, comes with a ruler, your interchangeable cover, which you can customize however you please, and our beautiful vellum sheet with all of the metallics. and really similar, but this one's a little more colorful. It reminds me more of the Colorful Life Planner. Lots of fun quotes and color. Now we move into, it starts with a note section in this one. All these softbound ended. It starts with the calendar section, while our softbound pretty much ended with the calendar section. So each one, just like the Life Planner, has a note page before your quote, blank planner, undated, note page, quote, blank calendar, and keeps going. I did the 24 months because we are looking at November 2022 for our wedding date, but if you had something shorter, you could go with the 12 months instead. Again, blank tabs, so you could add the months to each of these if you desired, but it goes all the way into your I-do list. So unlike the softbound, which had the little checklist and then the sections behind it, this goes into kind of getting started, get your color scheme, which is a little bit different, most important wedding must-haves, and then it goes right into just all your checklist. Bang, bang, bang. Again, starts with a 14 to 9 months. This one, instead of having a bunch of blank little checklist, it just has a note section. So maybe a little more room to add some other stuff, but the checklist, from what I could tell, looked pretty much identical. I don't think there is really any differences. Maybe a little bit shorter of time spans, like this goes in. These are 2-month increments, 4 to 2, but really, really similar. Again, week of, same thing, your wedding party slots. So this one has, the other one had 16, and this has 20. So a little bit more for running your wedding party. So you could probably fit both bridesmaids and groomsmen on here for sure, unless you're having more than 10 on each side. And here, instead of our vow page having you some questions to answer, this just gives you a blank space to write your rough draft of your vows. But lots of colors, your guest list. This gives you 2 lines on each, instead of having the checklist of invites sent, RSVP received, whatnot. We go into our budget checklist, which looks really similar, just more color. I like this page. I wish the softbound had this one. It has kind of a idea of pictures you would want, and then a blank space for some other ones. So I really like this page. I wish it was included in both. Like this. Music list. And then you have a little space for your do not play. With the softbound, just gave you a little tip to make a do not play list. Oops. Again, flowers. This one's nice. They give you some ideas of flowers per season. With that one, just gave you flowers per wedding style. So that's where they differ, but same kind of concept. Cake information, kind of the same thing. This one's just a little more colorful for your example of cake sizes versus servings. Drinks, the menu. You can do if you have a tasting, you can put some notes here. Vendor contact list looks the same, just a little more colorful. Seating arrangements. Lots of similarities between the two overall. Lots of pages for that, and then you have your gift log again with your checklist of your thank you, so that's the same in both of them. And then you have your gifts for your wedding party, your timeline, again, but this one goes till 9 p.m., 6 a.m. to 9 p.m., so, which actually I think that was the same. Now that I think of it, that was 9 p.m. too, I believe. So that's the same, my bad. But this one does have a notes section, so if you wanted to continue later on to the night, you could put that over here, or however you choose to use it. Honeymoon information, this gets a little more detailed with flight and rental car thing. I don't even know if I'd want that in here. That might stress me out, but I guess depending on how close you're doing your honeymoon to your wedding, completely up to you. So this one for the thank you note, this gives you more of a outline instead of very open. Of course, you wouldn't have to use this, but it's a nice little guideline if you wanted one. I wasn't sure how to or what to write. Lots of quotes. I love these colorful quote pages. And again, we have a memories pages. This has some different shapes with circles and rectangles and hearts, but lots of space to put in pictures if you chose to do that. Lots and lots. And then our note pages. So the Coiled is a little bit different because the Softbound just had the lined pages and then the blank ones, but the Coiled has 22 line pages and then 40 dot grid pages. So lots and lots of space to write any notes or extra information. The other thing that differs is that the Coiled has 4 pages of stickers. So you might use that for your calendar, your blank undated planner, spaces to write appointments, and some other little pre-made stickers. You have an on-the-go folio, which the other one does not. And however, both of them come with the metallic dot dates, so you get that in either planner. So you can put that in your undated monthly spreads, but you would have to write the month in, unless you bought some stickers from that, which there's lots of options out there. So those are the 2 comparisons. I kind of love the Softbound, but I think I might have to experiment with both to see which one I'm going to stick with. But overall, they're both really fun. They're both beautiful planners. I think either one will be really helpful, and I hope this helped you decide if you were kind of trying to figure out between the 2 which one you were looking at. So let me know if you have any questions. Feel free to check out my Instagram at beingl_plans, and I will link that in the bio. See y'all next time.